Hi guys, welcome back to Honest Straightforward Reviews. Today I am super excited to get to you guys a comparison between the brand new Bose QuietComfort Ultra earbuds and the Sony WF-1000XM4s on my right. What I'll start this comparison with is first of all the unboxing experience, the physicalities of both side by side, looking at them, and then I'll go through the noise cancellation, all the features, the app, and towards the end I will be talking about the sound of both of them and which one I prefer, and my verdict as well at the end. Now let's get the boxes underway. So these are the two boxes you get, and looking at them, personally I prefer the recycled material on the Sony ones on my right, but it's a bit too much information, all of this here. I don't want to see all of that. As you guys know, I like it minimalistic, and this opens up like this and you're greeted with your XM4s being in there. So they sit in here like this with that bit in there. And by the way, if you want to see the proper unboxing of this, that they're on my channel as well. So that's how it sits in here, and then you'll have your extra earbuds here and your information, all these booklets, really thick, a lot of waste of space in my opinion. This day and age you don't need it. And here is what you need, is the cable. So it's a USB-A to USB-C cable, which is what most audio companies are doing. I don't know why they're not doing USB-C to USB-C. And you've got all the different earplugs as well, the large and the small. Okay, that's the Sony's. Looking at the Bose, it's a bit too much information, but I like it. I like the splash of color. It breaks your eyes a little bit away from all the white. Slides out really easily. Has these little flaps to open it up. Your headphones sit in here like so. All right, I've got it the wrong orientation around, but that's how it sits. And you've got all your booklet in there, and your USB-A to USB-C, and also your earplugs in here as well. So these are the different earplugs you get, and you also get the fins as well. So you get different sized fins, large and so 2 and 3, it's what it's called, and this is small and large over here. All right, that's basically it. Now let's look at both the headphones side by side. Looking at them side by side, you can see the Sony is nearly half in the height of these two, a bit wider, all right, a tiny bit wider, all right, and the thickness is a tiny bit thicker, okay, than the Bose. However, quite short, like so. This is smaller, and when you open it up, looking inside of both of these headphones, the case, that's how it looks inside. Nice and neat. This is a bit shiny, that has a matte finish, okay, the insides of it, both have a matte finish outside. Looking at the headphones themselves, the Bose is significantly smaller and also a bit lighter to feel as well. And the reason it's smaller is it's hiding a lot of its form in these little sticks, okay? So realistically, the Sony's, everything is in here, okay, in here. So that's why it's a bit bulky, whereas this is hiding it. And it's really smart because that's where the touch feature is, and you can swipe down for volume down and swipe up for volume up and things like that. Now it doesn't solely rely like the Sony's or the AirPods and most of other headphones on being inside your ear and placed properly. It also relies on your outer ear and this fin connecting to your outer ear and stopping it from coming out. And it's amazing how much work that little fin does. I feel like it on my right side, I should be using a large ear tip because my both your canals aren't the same size. On mine, unfortunately, the left one is a bit larger than the other one, so I should be using a large one on this side, but this fin does such a good job that I don't actually require to do that for this to stay in. The Sonys, on the other hand, they use memory foam, which is very, very comfortable. Okay, however, they do need to dig in deep and sit in there. And I'll talk about comfort now. So comfort in the name, and I am very happy to report that the QuietComforts are actually very comfortable. They're so comfortable. They're one of the most comfortable, easy to use headphones I've used. The thing that I really appreciate, which is the exact opposite on the Sonys that I dislike, is once it's in there, once it's in your ear, it doesn't actually need to push in. So if you look at it where it's sitting, it sits like right here. It's quite, and in your ear canal, because it's so short already, that makes a significant difference. So it sits quite out of your ear. So the reason I like that is, like, sometimes I'll have a shower and I'll pop my earphones in and listen to something while I'm getting ready for work or whatnot. And I appreciate that, because when your ear canal is wet, last thing you want to be doing is poking something in there and pushing all the water inside, because naturally your ear is built to push and slide the water outside really slowly. And if you don't touch it, it just slides out and it dries out your ear canal. But having these in there, that's, first of all, having anything in your ear when it's wet is not the best of ideas. So don't be doing that. But the memory foam, it needs to be nice and tight and in there, you know, for this to not get out again. So that just pushes up against all the water and completely seals it. Whereas I find this a bit more comfortable. However, having said that, you shouldn't be doing that anyways. But I'm not a doctor, so don't take my advice on this. So basically on comfort, they both do a pretty good job, but I'll have to say the Bose are one of the most comfortable headphones by far that I have tried. Carrying them in the case of both the headphones, I would say the Sony is a bit lighter, and the Sony gives you a lot more range as well. It gives you nearly 8 hours in my testing, nearly 8 hours of playtime in one hit, whereas these guys give you 6 hours. So that's an hour off. Not that you'll ever need to sit there with your earbuds in your ear for 7 hours straight before it dies, then you charge them. And mind you, I'm talking about the earbuds, not the charging case. So once you, like for example, if you're listening to the music for half an hour, and you place them back, they charge up again, so you'll have more range. So what I am talking about is one sitting. So in one sitting this wins, but it's just good to know there, you know. The Bose and Sony's both have the wireless charging capabilities, so they can both be wirelessly charged. I like the little light here and a little light here, tells you different things, and it has a button for pairing in the back, similar to the Sony. So the Sony has the charging here, and you can place it, and that's where the wireless charging happens. So I like it a bit more where you can put it on your desk and put the charger, whereas this guy also is really good. You mostly nobody would put it like this on their table or like that. You'll put it like this and you can charge it, okay? So that's fantastic. The Sonys don't have that physical button that this has. They do it through trickery, like open it, pull one out, put one back, hold both, and it just resets the earbuds, which I think is a bit smarter. It's better to have the lesser amount of buttons, less things to go wrong and all this stuff, in my opinion, but it's not much of a big deal. The Sony also has a larger LED which can be viewed at both this and that angle with just one LED, whereas this has two. And that's basically it. Putting them in your pocket, I would go with the Sony. It's a bit bulgier, but it's a lot lighter and smaller. Now, I've touched on comfort a little bit, but each person to their own. I might find the Bose QuietComfort quite comfortable, and there's no pun intended there, but to the other person, it might not be that comfortable. They might find the Sony's comfortable, but in my opinion, the QuietComfort are pretty good. Now, let's look at the apps. So let's take this out, connect this back to my headphones, and we are going into the Bose Music app. So going into the Bose Music app, immediately you can see that it's connected here. Now, a few things that I like about it: you can go into settings, you can set up the product, Okay, you can do different things, test the seal and all this, Bluetooth connections, see how many you have. Modes are different scenarios, so you'll have an office mode for your office and things like that, so you can have that. Immersive audio is having a bit like spatial audio in this case, although it doesn't do it as well as Apple does. Equalizer is very basic, but great to see that they are adding it. So it's just got mid, treble and bass. Doesn't give you the most customization, but it's better than nothing. Self voice is something that you can hear your own voice while on a phone call, which is natural. You can hear yourself, but I have that off. In-ear detection, auto pause, auto answer, auto transparency, which are some of the features. Voice prompts as well, so it gives you a bit of control over it, and it also lets you firmware upgrade it as well. Now, other than that, you can have a shortcut. So you can have a shortcut, so left shortcut. So I have the left, and I can turn on the voice assistance by holding this. Or you can have the right shortcut and have cycle through modes. You can play around with that. You can get the volume lower or higher with this little thing here. So you can do this or that to get the volume up and down. And other than that, you've got the EQ, and that's basically it. It's also, you can look at it here as well, what it's connected to. So that's basically it. It's good to have. And however, some of the features, I would let you know that it requires an Android and a Snapdragon 888 or higher. So nothing older than a year. So you need something that is quite the latest to be able to access the full functionalities of these headphones. So unfortunately, that's the thing with this. Now, in regards to sound, before I get into sound too much, I'd like to let you guys know that regarding sound, so they both, in regards to the sound, do the SBC and AAC. However, the Bose do aptX, okay, adaptive codecs. However, like I said, with them they do require, and by the way, they don't have LE audio, which is when it's using a lot less power to connect and lasts a lot longer. So this doesn't use that at all. Now, the aptX adaptive codec is really important because it gives you a really the highest bitrate option available that you can use, also while minimizing latency for things like gaming or apps that need it to have that latency removed, you know. The unfortunate part of that is it can only, like I said, be used in Android. Doesn't do it on anything else except for Android, and it has to have the Snapdragon 888. Now, regarding the Sony, it does both of the SBC and AAC, but it's also got LDAC, which is Sony's version of its own really nice audio, and that works with iPhone and Android. So that's a plus for these guys. Okay, let's go into the Sony app. Okay, going into the Sony app, you're immediately greeted with a lot more customization. So you've got the adaptive audio sound control. So adaptive sound control lets you use actions and places and frequencies, automatically adjusting your ambient sound and filtering them through your headphones. So that basically means is if you're walking on the road, you want to be able to hear the cars. But if you're riding in the bus, you don't want to hear it. So it just turns them on and off based on your location, based on your activity. And you can have it on your location and just specify exactly what you wanted to do in that location. So if you want to take control, like at the gym, if it's recommending to have some of the volume, some transparency, and lower the noise cancellation, and if you don't want that, you want maximum noise cancellation, you can have that. It just lets you do things. So if you want to control the ambience, you can do that. You can let the app learn things. If you don't want it, you can turn it off, like I have. I don't need the need for it. When I put headphones on, I don't want to be disturbed. Okay, so the noise cancelling level, so it's got noise cancelling, automatic wind reduction as well. So this is something that it uses. So both of these, by the way, have wind reduction. So, and impressively, the Sony, the Mark IVs have wind reduction, okay? So wind reduction is noise cancelling with wind reduction, okay? However, the Bose only offer it on the ultra high-end, very expensive headphones. So if you get the Bose QuietComfort earbuds, they don't have wind reduction. Okay. Another thing that you can control on the Sony is speak to chat. Speak to chat is a bit like awareness on the AirPods. So the AirPods Pro, when you talk, it just reduces everything, reduces the volume and lets in noise, and you can talk to people. Speak to chat actually pauses the music, which is, I prefer it. I don't want to like talk to someone and something is going off in my ear still, even at a lower volume, or miss half of my thing because I've just talked and then I'm going back on the video or song or whatever. So it pauses it, which is what I prefer. And what it does is it lets in all the noise from outside and you can just talk to people. Now, it's got find your equalizer, so it's a beta thing and it just lets you listen to a few songs and then it'll then find the equalizer based on your taste, which is fantastic if you don't want to take too much control. Now, another thing is 3D reality audio, which is fantastic because it actually analyzes your ears, then it optimizes the apps as well. So what that is basically spatial audio for Sony. The Bluetooth sound quality, you can go for connection, stable connection, or you can have prioritized sound quality. These are some of the settings you can go for. And other than that, you can have the extreme DSEE, which is Sony's very high-end kind of pushing the sound really well. And I have that on. I can tell the difference. It's very nice. Now, here is the kicker. This is the equalizer. Look at the equalizer. It really lets you play around with it. It's got a few pre-selected ones, vocal, this, that, and all this stuff. You can just go in here and actually change it around. You can reduce the bass, increase the bass, just for the bass and the vocals and things like that. So this is fantastic, and this is the name of the pre-selected one. So you can change the name to something else if you wanted. It's like Trimble, and you've got bass boost, you've got speech, so you can change those sort of things. So that's fantastic to see. This got pre-selected. It really lets you play around with it, which is useful, and I'll tell you in a little bit why when we come to the sound comparison. Going into the system settings, you can have two devices simultaneously connected to it, which is fantastic for the Sony. It's very, very good. What that means, at the same time, it's connected to my phone and my Mac. So if I'm just like going on the Mac and I play something, it'll play that. But if I pause that and play something on my phone, it'll play that. I don't need to disconnect and connect. This guy doesn't do that. This guy does not, with the massive price tag of $649 that it's got. $649, guys. It doesn't have multi-point, which is annoying. Going to Bluetooth 5.3, Bluetooth 5.2. So not much of a difference, but doesn't have the LE audio. So like, what's the point of, maybe they'll introduce it with a firmware, but they should have things ready at time of launch. I'm not buying a headphone for a promise of something it'll be. You can control your voice assistant here as well. You can either use Amazon or don't use it at all. I don't use one, and I have that turned off. A lot of the settings have been played around because I've just reset those headphones and I play around with it quite a bit. So you can connect to two simultaneous. You can actually change what these headphones do when you tap it and things like that, which is fantastic to see. It's not just a little bit of control, it's complete customization. What does one tap do? What does two taps do? Do you want volume control? Not assign it at all. Do you want playback? Do you want ambience control? Which is fantastic to see. I like seeing these sort of things. I like to be able to customize and have control. I know what I'm doing. Okay. So also, by the way, the headphones tests how they're sitting. Automatic power off, powers off when you're removing it and leave it for a while. Paused when removed. These are fantastic to see. You can control all of this. You can download automatically. You can have notification. You can turn these things off. This is what I'm talking about. It gives you control. So if it annoys you when you put it in your ear and goes, Bluetooth connected. If you don't want that, turn it off. If you don't want the latest software just automatically all the time getting downloaded and put onto your phone, turn it off. And you can reinitialize settings as well. Now, these are the fantastic things about the Sonys. Now, let's talk about the Bose. One annoying thing for the Bose is the connection. I have really struggled with the connection for the Bose. As soon as I leave them somewhere, when I first got them, as soon as I left them out of my pocket, like literally like a couple of feet away, it'll stop connecting to my phone and it'll drop out and things like that. That's poor. That's not good enough, guys. And after a firmware update, so I got them pretty much immediately after they came out, and it had a firmware update pretty soon after that. And after that firmware update, I can leave them somewhere, but not too far away. This is Bluetooth 5.3. This is 5.2. It beats it by miles. I can go, I've got a double story. I can leave my phone upstairs and I can go outside, water all the plants around my house. No connection issues. I go downstairs, no connection at all. So it's very annoying that they sell a product that's not completed and they want you to pay $650 for it and it's not completed. This sort of behavior is very common in video games where they release the latest video game out and then you're paying the full amount, but it's not ready. Cyberpunk 2077, which I love that game, beautiful game, comes to mind. And Baldur's Gate 3 is a beautiful game, and they did the right thing. They released a game that was completed. And that sort of behavior annoys me. Finish the product, guys. Finish it, then send it out to me. I don't want to pay $650 for a promise, you know, that these things will come. Like the LE audio, why isn't it there? It's got Bluetooth 5.3. What's the point of having Bluetooth 5.3? When it doesn't have the range, when it doesn't have the low consuming Bluetooth on there. Let's talk about the last two things. So noise cancellation, both of them are phenomenal for noise cancellation. They do an extremely good job. Personally, I would call it a tie, but I will give it a tiny bit to the Bose. They do a really fantastic job with noise cancellation. I don't have a problem with any of them. However, I do appreciate how Sony lets you take control of your earphones a lot better, and you can just customize it a bit more to your liking. If you want it all the way, or you don't want it all the way noise cancellation and you want a bit of ambience coming through, fantastic. You can do that. You can do it based on your location. You're at home, you want to listen to your missus and your kids a bit more, and you want to be a bit aware of it, let a bit of noise come through. If you don't want that, you can just block everything out. That's the fantastic thing I'm trying to get across, that it's customizable. That's what I like to see. It's not treating us like Apple. Okay, Apple on the other hand, these guys, hardly you can do anything with these. Those are the brand new one, the USB-C one that they want to pay again for a lot. Anyways, so back to this. Now let's go to sound. Now, unfortunately, both of these guys sound a bit the same. They're both a bit bass heavy, okay? Normally, Bose are known for having a very normalized sound profile, okay? However, these ones are bass heavy. So, and a lot of the headphones these days I'm seeing are coming out are bass centric, because those of us who unfortunately don't have, who aren't as acquainted with music and the different notes and things like that, just loud bassy music sounds good. So this is what these guys will try and achieve. However, you can reduce it. It got an equalizer. You can reduce the bass and try and get some normalcy onto your notes and let the other notes shine through by reducing the bass. This does it a bit more, okay? That's all I got to say. This gives you a bit more control on it. So it's up to you. Sound-wise, you're not going to find any difference between them. I like both of them. They're really good. Now, I like to talk about sound. And the reason I do, talk about sound in every single video. Now, if you want to test the full potential of a headphone or speaker, these are speakers. These are tiny little speakers in there. That's how you can hear them. They're speakers. So for you to test a speaker out properly, they have to be hardwired, okay, to have that full potential of it going through to the speakers. And also you have to have lossless music files playing, okay, and your player has to be good, and this and that and rah. If you're playing it through wireless and you're playing it through something like YouTube Music, okay, even Apple Music with the higher bit rate, you wouldn't see much of that go through when you're comparing it to wired through a CD, lossless, okay. It will sound better. Trust me, guys, when you try that. So there's only so much you can compare them when it comes to sound. That's why I don't talk about sound too much. I go, yeah, this is what happens, rah. But you can't do much without having it wired, without having that lossless and all that. And I appreciate a lot of people don't care about that stuff. They put these on, they want the noise cancellation, they want all of this stuff. Now, one last thing I'd like to add between these two headphones: don't have fast charging. This has fast charging. That's basically it. All right, guys, that brings me towards the end of my discussion in regards to these headphones. I personally really am a big, so I'd like to let you guys know about my bias here. I am a big fan of Sony when it comes to sound. They do a phenomenal job. I like their products. I use their products. I've got the XM4, XM5s as well at home, and I use them for my everyday use. Having said that, I don't mind Bose lately. I used to not like them in the start, but I'm starting to like them a bit more, especially with the QuietComfort Ultra range. They've done quite a good job, but they do let you down where they promise you stuff and it's not delivered. So when you have a wireless device, it should work wirelessly. It should work wirelessly. The reason you've got the Bluetooth 5 and you're going for Bluetooth 5 is the range. You know, that's the only difference, main difference that you see between Bluetooth 4, Bluetooth 5. So why wouldn't you go for something older? Because of Bluetooth 5, Bluetooth 5. But then as soon as you leave it somewhere and you go and it doesn't work and you're hoping one day it'll be better, I'm not buying a product. I'm sorry, I'm not buying a product, and hence I can't recommend a product based on the goodwill that you might fix those things on it. So based on that, it has a few issues that I didn't like about it. I don't like that sort of behavior. Also, the control, I like it. It gives you a bit of control through the app, but it doesn't as much. They can do a bit, take a leaf out of Sony's book and do a bit better. And another thing that annoys me is locked. It's locked all behind Android. So it's a very Android centric, the latest and greatest Android. Then you can use all these features. So if you're spending $650, you need the latest Samsung flagship with the Snapdragon 888 or higher just to make it sound good. So those are the things I don't appreciate. In that terms, I like the Sonys. They're nearly on par when it comes to noise cancellation. Comfort, yes, the Bose is a bit better, but the Sonys are no slouch either. They do a better app. They do the sound is same. The comfort is nearly the same. The price, by the way, so $649. I've seen these go brand new for about, the cheapest I saw was $169. So based on that, if you find these for $169, even $300, I would get these. These are more than double, $650, $300. So you can, at $160, you can buy like nearly 4 of these. Okay, so it makes it really hard to recommend the Bose. Not about design, love the comfort, love these little swipey things. Although one little thing before I go, I hate about these swipey things. Love and hate. So love this, that you can control the volume through swiping. However, I hate it for the fact that, see how that metal bit is so close? And like imagine this hand is my ear. So this is the clip goes on the back of your ear. So you'll need to like grab it, and as soon as you grab it, you can touch it. a bit, you know, you touch, as soon as you touch it, the music pauses. There has not been one single time where I've tried to adjust this or do something that I haven't paused my music, and that's very annoying. You don't have that problem with the Sonys. I haven't had that problem ever. So that's another problem. So just letting you guys know, in my opinion, I would go the Sonys any day. But those are the facts for you. Let me know which one you'd go for. Let me know what else would you like me to compare the Bose to. What did you think about my review? Did you think it's a bit one-sided? Both of them sound good to me. I like them in regards to sound, and if that's what you're going for and you want to save yourself a bit of money, in my opinion, the Sonys are better. So let me know if this review helped you out. Thank you for watching it to the end. Take good care. Bye-bye.